Hey guys, Sean Bougie, surplusfundsriches.net. If somebody could let me know they can hear and see me okay, that would be great if you'd use the comment section. I believe we've started, so there shouldn't be an issue. Banner looks right. Hope everybody's doing well out there. Sherry says, I can. That's great news. Cherie, hope I pronounced that right. Any and all questions are welcome, of course. Real excited, guys. The way we've been doing it lately with splitting up the ebook with a do-it-yourself or a partnership version or a full version of the ebook. And that's been working out really, really well. Excited for the deals we've got under contract. I will, and I promise you, I'll have a deal board update probably next week. I have had an issue here in that on the 6th, I had my left knee replaced. I had already had my right knee replaced before. I had bone on bone. It was extremely painful. So I finally had to get it done. And I'm glad I did. But I'm still about a week out from being able to get around and move. And I'm still going to have to probably use a cane for a little bit, maybe even a rollinator or a walker. But anyway, I've been a little behind on that. Lucky I've got a great crew. I have a fantastic supervisor. I have great case managers. I have a great business partner. So it's been working out, but it's been driving me crazy that don't have my hands on the reins right now. Um, Hi, looks and good and sounds good from here. It's Cheryl. Thanks, Cheryl. Yeah, and I'll figure. Cheryl, I'm going to get that out tomorrow. I'm sorry about that. I had your old ACH. Cheryl just made a good little check there on a deal. Alistair, loud and clear, and Cherie, you did. Cherie, okay. All right, guys. Again, any and all questions are great. If you've been to our site at all, surplusfundsriches.net, if you've been there, you know that if you click on products, you've got an overview of all of our different products, all of our different programs. There's a basic overview of what we do and what we train on the main page. There's a lot of freebies on that main page, free training, free video training, free lists, just to at least give you an idea of what's out there. A lot of great information that I'd really recommend you take advantage of. And then there are testimonials, video testimonials that you can also check out. And all this is really easy to navigate on the site. I mean, it's literally a link that says testimonials or products. It's very straightforward. Of course, once you've read, if you've gone to the products page, there's a download that has an overview of all the different programs for you. That way you can figure out what you'd like. But if you've read that, once you've read it, and you still have a question for me, I'm available 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Friday at 704 791 9398. Cheryl says, thank you. You're very welcome, Cheryl. I'm hoping you're still going to stick around. You weren't just coming in to make sure I'm sending that that ACH credit out. One of the things, too, guys, I want to let you know. So the way we used to pay people is once the deal came in. Now we'll tell you when it goes under contract usually, unless it's really hairy and we're not sure how it's going to go. But then we'll also keep you abreast, like, hey, looks like we're about a month out, and then we'll let you know when we're paid. Usually, sometimes it's so hairy, I'm not going to get you excited for something that we don't know until the end if it's going to happen. Just happens, guys, especially when you're looking at airship stuff and you've got heirs lying and you've got all this craziness going on. But we will give, for newbies, we'll give you 597 as if you've never taken an advance before, I should say it that way. You can get an advance when we tell you they're under contract and things look good. You can get an advance up to 597 bucks. You can then get additional advances for everyone we put under contract. This is after we get the contract back. We're going to send a mobile notary out with a label, an overnight label, to send it back to us right away. But if we get that done and that comes back and the attorney's checked it and everything looks good, I'll let you know. If you want to take an advance, you can. Now, we used to, on the first one, we'd send out a certified check, I believe it was, or maybe even a regular check, where you had to actually sign for it on the first deal. Don't have to do that anymore. If I get your ACH information, and this is the same thing, by the way, for deposits, or rather advances on the commission. I can send you with your routing number, the type of account it is, checking, whatever, savings, whatever. With that information, routing and account number and the name on the account, I can send that out to you and with no issues, because we can always track you down through that. Before, we were concerned because we had some really wacky stuff happen, and we don't want it to be the guys that were involved in funding something we shouldn't be funding just because somebody weird was doing something weird. So anyway, we fixed all that. The ACH credit system, I'll credit your account right away. When I say right away, it's usually the next business day. I can typically send it same day if you want, but I believe the charge on that, I'll have to check. They were thinking about going up to 50, but I think the current charge on that's $35 just to send it same day. If you're willing to do that and you want me to just take the 35 off the top, I will do that. But if not, if you want to wait, just wait one day, the next business day, it'll be in there. Now, obviously, we can screw that up. I can't send it out on Friday and it'll arrive on Saturday. It's going to arrive on Monday. Saturdays don't count as ACH credit day. Plus, hope the best for you, Sean. You got this. Thank you, sir. Hope the best for you, Sean. You got this. Yes, sir. Not my first rodeo with changing out changing out knees. This is the downside to having more, let's say, experience instead of saying older. That's the downside to that. Cheryl says, "No, I just show up to see updates and if you guys have any new stories to tell." So I thought of one today. While you guys are thinking about, ask me questions, guys. You only got half an hour, okay? So ask me questions. But while I'm waiting on that, I used to work with an investor that was crazy. He taught me about 90% what I know about flipping property, working outside of the box, creative real estate, all that. Okay. Guy was from Jersey, crazy as heck. Became one of the best friends I've ever had in my life. He's since passed, and I currently talk with his son a lot. And his son took over the business and is doing as well, if not better than Pop. But nobody was a greater salesperson than Troy. And he got angry. We had a closing coming up, and he got angry because these guys kept asking for more and more and more. And I would list his property in addition to helping him find it, and even help him fix it up. Sometimes I would list it and then and sell it for him. As a realtor, I put it in MLS and do all that. So but we had one where I kept coming back to him. I was like, "Troy, I'm sorry, man. I got to pass on what the agents tell me. These guys are now asking for this." And Troy was like, Troy used to fix and flip. I don't do that anymore, by the way. We do zero aggravation flipping. We buy it cheap enough that we can flip it to an investor in a matter of a couple of weeks for cash. Buy out the owner, stop the foreclosure by paying off usually it's the tax sale, the taxes owed on it, pay the owner some money to get the hell out. Or sometimes we have to wait a month or two if that's going to help us. But that'll help quite a bit. And I got this Carol C. LOL jersey. I'm originally from there. Okay, Carol, buckle up. All right. So this guy, and you guys know, I used to joke because he was so his verbiage was so crass. I was like, did they teach you the alphabet? F and A, F and B, F and C. Okay, that was Jersey, and best people you've ever met as far as being good family people. Just so you know, I'm not making fun of them, but anyway, he got pissed at this guy. He was just really angry. I was like, Troy, you've already told me, so take your own advice. Don't get mad at your money. He's like, just tell him to tear it up. Because I had done this before with him. I said, look, let's tell him we're gonna we're gonna give him the good faith money. This was before it became due diligence. It was good faith money. We're gonna give it back to him. They can go away. We'll cancel the contract. Just tell him that. I've done that. I led him to do that because I knew that the other agents were usually weak and the buyer was full of crap. Not a whole lot of negotiation. We got a moving truck sitting out front of the house you're trying to buy from my seller. But I got a funny story about that too. But anyway, in this one, the guy just would not stop. And one of the things that Troy had to do, and I told him to do it, it was an older house and he had taken the old deck off, put a new one on, hadn't been flashed correctly. So the water had been going down along the wall for years. And it ended up so here's the wall of the house. Okay. The dirt should have been up like this, and over time it was literally dipping back toward the house because there's so much runoff, making this inverse runoff, right? So he had to fix that, and I said, "Hey, I already told." He goes, "I know, I'm going to fix that." But then the guy was asking for all this other crap, so I go over and I decided to drop by a couple of days before closing because Troy was capable of damn near anything, and I said, "Everything okay?" And he goes, "Yeah, you kind of scared me though a little bit." I said, "Why would I scare you, Troy?" And he said, "All right, come here. I'm going to show you what I'm doing." I was so mad at these people. He had gotten a lifelike white skeleton, like it looked like a real skeleton, right? And buried it about an inch and a half below the dirt underneath this deck. Okay. Um, it was, and it was in the section near the house, but it was also water was coming through the deck still. Okay. There were thin little areas. So he knew eventually that would wear out. And so I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "Man, they're gonna find this and they're gonna freak out." And I was just like, "Oh my god!" So he did that to one client. We had another one that was being a jerk, and we were putting the carpet in. We had it on the market before it was done, but we were putting this. We already ripped everything out. We were putting the carpet in with the subfloor for the carpet and all that crap. Putting that stuff in, and there was a big return for the AC. It was a floor return back in the days when they did that. And while the subfloor was up, Troy got red paint on his hands and put lines down, leading like somebody had been dragged into the AC return. Um, let it dry and then put everything in. He goes, when they change the carpet, they're going to have a little bit of fun there. Anyway, that's the kind of stuff I ran into. Um, let's see. Can't wait. For the mortgage foreclosure overage, what do I say to the law firm when I'm calling about a possible overage? Okay, LSR, if you're talking about the panning system, where you're talking about the working with non-judicial states, where the attorney um, is handling the disbursement of funds as well as handled the foreclosure itself, those non-judicial states using the hidden panning for hidden surplus funds, um, you need to have a power of attorney just to ask them a question if the money's there. Okay. If you're talking about where it's a judicial process and the mortgage foreclosure happened in the county, typically you're going to see a list for that. If you don't, you can get a at least a POA. I just get them to sign everything up. I would certainly wouldn't check on stuff until you talk to your guys. Um, but say to the law firm when I'm calling about a possible overage, you've got to be talking about panning for hidden because the law firm only holds the money in non-judicial states. So you've got to have a POA from the people that at least allows you to ask questions about that. And they're going to want you to email or text or email that first and have it look at it before they talk to you. They're going to just talk to you. Right, Ed. Okay, Sean, don't be upset, but I still have not started my program. I bought almost 4 years ago. I'm at some point going to get started. How long do I have before I can access it? It's as long as it takes you. Look, we're independent contractors, okay, Rita. So we're independent contractors. Do what you want. You can work as little or as much as you'd like, or not at all. Get started when you can. Life comes up. People come back a lot and get started and end up doing very well, but don't put it off. Don't keep kicking the can down the road. 4 years is a heck of a long time. Read that deed flip. Yeah, get started on that right away. Gary Miller. All right. Hi, Sean. I'm researching a foreclosure in Massachusetts. Based on my research, there seems to be significant excess payment to be no recorded paperwork stating the overage. What should I do? All right. So, Gary, I'm hoping you have one of our programs. If you don't, and you're looking at just opening bid and final sales price, that's kind of a misnomer. The opening bid can be a completely false number where the bank is just getting things started and they want to start the process. And of course, there can be a lot of additional costs. All this is in our panning for the surplus funds program, teaches you how to do that. Based on my research, there seems to be significant excess payment. But recorded paperwork stating there is what should I do? What does your research entail, Gary? Carol, that's awesome. You got it, Carol. I figured you'd dig that. You're a Jersey girl. Uh, a Doida. I just worked on a file with 16 releases. What's the biggest you've dealt with? LOL. That's probably up there. There's a lot of folks if they've had the property for 30 years. There's a lot of people that refi all the time, then they'll get a HELOC, then they'll pay it off, then they'll refi. That's why it's so important to do that research and check because it's amazing how many you can find. Now, be careful too. I'm not saying you're doing it wrong, but sometimes people go, "Oh my God, there's 57 mortgages here," because you search by the name of the person. Well, make sure you're also looking at the legal description or shortened legal description. Should be right in the columns there, so you can take a look at it. And that'll tell you if you're looking at the right one. The reason I say that is sometimes you'll see 50 mortgages, but it's 3 different houses. They own 3 homes. And none of the mortgages that were against the homes that did not foreclose, none of those count, against the one that foreclosed. So that's another thing to consider when you're looking at that. Again, not saying you're doing it wrong. Elisaire thinks. Aliciar. Gary Miller, 5994. I ran into this situation with 2 cases I was working on in Maryland. Yeah, you're just gonna see it. I see it the most in the Southeast when you're looking at like tons of mortgages over time, simply because a lot of people don't understand this, but getting mortgages is regional. In some regions, it's harder to get a mortgage. They examine you a lot more competitively. They look really deep into what you got going on. Excuse me, or they'll even ask for more down payment. For some reason, the Southeast has looser lending standards than the Northeast or even the West. Um, Midwest, not so much. When you get into some areas, I'm trying to think, Montana and that, it's fairly simple to get everything done. Just because they know there's not a whole lot of people living out there, and but even so, they can probably, if they have to, foreclose and get it moved pretty quick because there's more and more people moving there. I don't know if you guys have seen, but mortgage rates came down again. The applications kind of came down too. They didn't go up like we thought they might, and that's okay. But I will tell you, and I happen to know people that are big muckety mucks in the banks, and I happen to know that they're seeing a pretty big flurry of mortgage foreclosures coming up in the coming weeks. One of the things you guys got to remember is one of the things that Biden did when he was in president is he basically told the mortgage companies, you have to work with these people and recast their loan if they want it. You have to keep doing it. It doesn't matter. It could be 20 times. Before that, it had been, hey, we're going to let them do it once, and then if they screw it up again, we're going to take it. Because we know it's going to happen. We're not doing them any favor. All we're doing is letting them get deeper and deeper and deeper in debt, okay, and get set up for a higher judgment down the road if they're allowed to have judgments after the sale. It's not helping these people. They knew that, uh, but they still did that, saying they were helping them. And I get it. It was a weird, COVID and all that was kind of some weird time. And I get that. But the other side of it is you're going to see people now that have been constantly resetting that, even when they wouldn't qualify for the new rate, or the fact that they had to keep adding in this unpaid stuff to the back end, and it made it where the total loan amount was too high to qualify for, or the loan rates kept coming up and they couldn't qualify. They still allowed them to do it. That ended at the end of last month, end of September. And that in itself, these people don't know that. Most of these people don't know that ended. They figured the train was going to keep running, and you're going to see a lot of mortgage foreclosures. Now, tax has also been on a big uptick. And the reason it's been on an uptick is simply because the counties cannot wait anymore. LSR. Hey, Sean, will there be an update board soon? Yeah, you must have missed the very beginning, Carol. Probably, I'm hoping next week my knee should be completely, not completely, but mostly healed up, and I'll be able to get back into the office and take a picture of the board. I know I could have my girl send that to me, but I like doing this myself and double checking that we've got everything on it. But it should be next week when I do the update on the board. For one of the cases, this is Alice here. For one of the cases, the sale went through. The county recorded a tax sale deed, but there is no deed or tax recorded on file for the new owner. Yes, there is. If there is recorded a tax sale deed, that is the deed for the new owner. The new owner bought it, and the county issued them a deed called a tax sale deed. So that's the deed. I don't understand what you're asking. They both are still in the former owner's name. Okay, if there was a tax sale deed recorded, it would show the new owner on it as the grantee. Do you have that? Because if you do, that's the deed. They own it now when they bought it. Now, I understand that there's some post-sale redemption states and all that stuff where you have to wait on the deed. But you just said that they recorded a tax sale deed. So if they did, it should say grantee, the new person that bought it. And if so, that's the deed. AA Doida, I appreciate your short videos. You're very welcome. I've had a lot of success with those guys. I used to do full form or full length, which could be anywhere from 2.5 minutes. I've got an hour and 5 minute training video up. But the shorts tend to get through really quickly to people. And I like the idea of locations with higher entry barriers because it usually means lower saturation. Yeah, there's some areas that I think there are some barriers that force people to go somewhere else. We're coming out with something interesting too coming up. Just keep coming to these. You'll see it soon. Carol, dang, I did miss that. Sorry. Hope you are feeling better. You're okay. Lisa here, nope. I submitted my file with the information. It was rejected. No deed with the new person. It's a huge overage too. I don't know what to tell you, Lisa, here, because you just told me in your earlier comment. For one of the cases, the sale went through. The county recorded a tax sale deed. Does that have the new buyer's name on it? If it doesn't, then I don't know what they recorded. Okay. I'm trying to be difficult, but I think we're kind of talking in circles here because if they were actually recorded a tax sale deed, it would have shown the new owner on it. That's who would have been the grantee in the tax sale deed. Oh, sorry. Nope. Okay. Fair enough. Any other questions, guys? Bring them on. We've got about 11 minutes left. I can answer an annual call. Again, guys, by the way, if you get a chance to go by the site, surplusfundsriches.net, there's great overviews on the first page. There's free stuff. There's an hour and 5 minute training, give you a great idea, overview of what you have to do in this business. Or if you wanted to partner with us, we give a partnership option with the partnership only or the full ebook. gives you all that information. There's products on the products page that you can click through and check out. There's an overview of what all they are. Some of you guys I know have questions, and you can call me 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern time, Monday through Friday. Could the owner have bought it back? Says Carol C. Um, yeah, typically you can buy it back as the owner prior to the sale, and there would not have been a deed recorded from the county at that point. It's a good question, Carol. Um, you can also, I suppose, you could go, right after it started and bid on it yourself, but that's silly because right up to the sale, you should be able to pay it off for cost and whatever's on there, fees and all that. But sure. CVA Resources. Hey, man. Hey, Sean, when a subordinate HOA lien forecloses, does the first mortgage stay on the property for new buyer to pay off, or does the first mortgage have entitlement to the surplus? Both. The debt isn't erased. Okay. Debt is not erased. The HOA foreclosure does not erase the mortgage debt. They can come back and now I gotta give you a caveat here. Okay. They can come back and foreclose against the new owner. And we've seen that a lot, particularly in Florida. Okay, because HOAs are so tough. HOAs can foreclose without a job. It's ridiculous what they can do down there. Anyway, yes, the mortgage company can actually come back later, even though there's a new buyer from that HOA sale. The mortgage company can go back and go, great, we had first position, so now we're going to foreclose on you. We're foreclosing on the property. You just happen to own it right now. Thank you, and they'll take it. I'm not kidding you. So that can happen. They can also go after the surplus. Now it depends on the area. I think you work Florida quite a bit, so it's going to depend on if you're working Florida with that. There's there we go. Yes, in Florida. So what you need to understand with Florida is a super lien state. Okay, I think there's 7 of these. Jeff, tell me if I'm wrong here. Jump in. Jeff's in the background moderating. But in a super lien state, an HOA can rise to be above everybody except for the tax man. So in Florida, that would be a matter of interpretation if that mortgage company was kicked out because the HOA had a first position as because you're in a super lien state. The mortgage company would still be able to make claim against the surplus, but if there was a really sharp attorney for the new buyer, he could argue that Florida is a super lien state. The HOA actually rose above the mortgage foreclosure, even though their mortgage was recorded prior or whatever. An argument could be made to that. So assume both. Assume the mortgage foreclosure, the mortgage company can come back and also foreclose. 99% of the time they can. And also assume they're going to have to get the money. A Doida, whenever you get the chance, is it worth doing an update on your opinion on states video, or have things not really changed much? They really haven't. A Doida, bottom line, well, they have. Like, for instance, I said, oh my God, Jersey's crashing and burning. Because they had come out with this new law, it's going to crash and burn. Nobody's going to be able to get overages up there. I was completely incorrect. We're doing great business up there. Other than that, I mean, there's really not a bad state. We don't like Colorado. We won't work it. North Carolina will not give you a list. You can only work it with a panning system. Florida is a separate system for us because the statutes are so different down there. And then Colorado, DC, we're not going to work. So you can work 47 states as a partner with us. You can work the other ones if you'd like on your own as well. It's the way we've set it up. Patrick, do I need to form an LL to partner with you on surplus funds? No, absolutely not, Patrick. Patrick, remember, your job, if you're going to partner with us, you're going to use that aspect. Your job is to get a list. We teach you how to do that. It's not hard. Take that list, research the debt against the property, make sure there wasn't additional debt that is a priority claim to the surplus, fill out a worksheet with that information. It's a fillable PDF. Turn that in with the documents, like copy the deed so we know what's going on here. Turn that into us. We take it from there. So you don't need an LLC. I'll just pay you as an individual. We do have an independent contract agreement. All it says is I've got to pay what I agreed to pay you. You have to be nice to my crew. That gives me the out to kick people out that are just horrible people that give my crew a rough time or just want to argue about every little thing and won't leave it alone. Not that happens a lot, guys, but it's nice to have that option. Believe me, it's the general public, right? Um, but no, you don't need an LLC at all. And by the way, if you're looking into that, check with somebody that knows taxes and where you can share your situation with them, how much you make right now, and all that, what you're trying to make. Um, a subchapter S corporation, S corp might be better for you. It is for most people. A lot of people that say LLC, they're actually forming an LLC that's based on an S corp's structure. Um, think about that, though. I have an S corp, by the way. That's what I started with, and I'm very happy with that. Precise 1904 Ed. Hi, Sean. It looks like I'm going to have to go to the courthouse to purchase lists. Searching for lists online are too old. So just call. Why would you go to the courthouse? Just call. Call and ask for an updated. If you bought the ebook, it's in there. What you can say to them, you can email, you can call them and request it. Shouldn't be an issue. Carol, can a trustee sale document that has the amount owed for foreclosure be used for an opening bid? Uh, We only do that with the panning fruit and surplus funds program, not with our national surplus. It's only for mortgage overages. It's only for works in about 22 states where it's a non-judicial state. And we teach you there's other things to look for beside that. Yes, that's part of it, opening bid and final sales price, but there's other things you need to look for too. I hope that answered your question, Carol. SFR, I think there's around 20 super lien states. Wow, I was wrong about that. There's a heck of a lot more than I thought, super liens. LSCR for Ohio, how do I locate the tax record bill for a property and the deed records? Is there a website for this? Good Lord. Um, Look it up on the county. Did you buy from us? Because we teach you how to do that. And there's a step-by-step in the ebook that also shows a file example. I even did that on that free 1+ hour video on the website. So yeah, it's easy to hit. And Ohio's ridiculously transparent about that stuff. Too sweet. In your opinion, other than Florida, what are the easier states for a beginner to work online from home? I don't particularly think that Florida is an easy state to work online from home. It's a good state to work. Um, we don't lead people to go to states because then everybody would crisp up those states. Okay. And whenever you see a barrier, for instance, Georgia, you can't research the debt online without paying $30 a month to the state GSCCCA. You can't research the debt without doing that. So a lot of people won't work that. And as a result, there's a heck of a lot less competition. So Georgia is a great place to work. Carol says, yes, panning. Awesome. Thanks. LSR, precise 19. I feel the same way with some counties as well. Sean is right. Try to call. Absolutely. Good Lord. Alicia, oh, yes. Okay, cool. I have the video and the ebook. I'll find it. You got it. It's right in there. And Alicia, so when you're looking at that, there's a file example for everybody on here that has already purchased from us. Okay. Read the ebook twice for comprehension. At first, kind of glance through to get an idea of what the different terminology is, the definitions that we have in there. You can come back as a reference. It's good to have a good idea how that stuff works, but you don't need to memorize it, okay? Then do everything step by step, but do that file example first. Jeff did an insane file example. And if you do that, before you do the rest of the stuff, you're going to feel a lot more confident about how to figure out how to research stuff. He showed you how to do it, how to get on the site and all that. There's also a link in your ebook to your resources page for that particular program that has additional video training, even though you don't need it. But you'll find it in there, Alicia. Hey, Doida, I thought I needed a screenshot of the minimum bid, but if I have the debt amount listed on the trustee's deeds, then I do not. Hey, Doida, use support, please. We're getting too deep on this, and I'm asking. Jeff handles the front line. If you purchase one of our programs, Jeff handles the front line, and he handles support and underwriting all the files, and honestly, writing most of the books these days. And you definitely want to go and ask support those questions because that's not my thing, and I'm probably going to give you the wrong answer. I'm not trying to blow you off. You said that with Carol. Okay. I don't think I did. AA Doida. All right, guys, I think we're at the end. My knee is throbbing. I'm sorry. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. And again, if you guys go to the site, surplusfundsriches.net, check on the products tab, go to the products. There's an overview in there. It's called the Insider's Guide. Download that. You can download it right off the products page, read through it, just make sure you know what you'd be buying. And then if you still have questions, give me a call 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Friday at 704-791-9398. AA Doida. Okay, I'll double check. Great. Thanks, guys.